I wanted to ask, what do what do most security professionals not know about mobile security that you could share? Is there anything new and exciting that you found out, or
Um, what do most security professionals not know about mobile security? I think I think what's often overlooked with mobile security, is, we see like mobile device management, mobile enterprise mobility management, all of these, big words, big acronyms, for dealing with mobile devices. But I don't really see, I want to do some research into this myself, but I don't really see like a lot of testing being done about, whether it actually works. When you look at the boxes or what these things claim to do, and, just from my own understanding, I can assure you that they absolutely cannot do what they say they're doing. So I don't think there's a lot of testing in that area, but I mean, it's hard enough to get people to let you pin test it all, much less, once you start talking about like pin tests breaking into people's personal phones and whatnot. I mean, that would just be I can't imagine any legal at this point letting you do that. It would be really nice if they would, but I just feel like mobile really is overlooked on the pen testing, and it's not really our fault as security professionals. I think it's, just the climate of, I mean, hacking is still this really scary thing, and the pen testing kind of gets thrown into that same category. I think, you know, corporations as a whole are still pretty scared of us. Um,
yeah, as
but
you're, going over your career as a pen tester, what would you say the state of security is today? Are we pretty bad off?
I would say in general, yes. Unfortunately, we are. I mean, I've been on some tests where it's been hard, where they've really done a good job, but
Yeah,
I
but
can't
what
think of the,
percentage is that?
that's a very small percentage. That said, I mean, it's really skewed. I mean, I do a lot of small business, so I guess, I mean, it's hard enough for me. I do a lot of teaching, and I swear every time I teach, something wants to update itself, and I say, remind me later because I'm teaching right
Yeah.
now. So, I mean, I can see I haven't done blue team in a long time. I haven't done like, I'm the one who's in charge of keeping the organization secure, and I can see definitely how hard of a job it is, and I am, I really like, there's been kind of talks of this purple teaming approach of, doing the pen testing, but then sticking around and helping, fix the problem as well. And I really definitely want to get involved in that. I'm, talking to a couple people about, working on stuff like that with clients.
Is there
I'm
is
pretty
there
excited about it.
is there a conflict of interest there though? Because I mean, you find the findings, and then you're like, hey, I can stick around and help you fix that if you want to pay me a little something extra. Or
Right. There is, I mean, I'm not really sure about all the legal behind all of that. That's generally how it's always been told to me, is that no, we can't actually fix it. We can just give
yeah,
recommendations. But I mean, that's something that's, I feel like, needs to be dealt with, because I feel like we just leave them with this report, and I mean, as detailed as we may be, I mean, they're really,
you leave them with a
they're
flaming bag of dog shit on the porch.
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. So there, I mean, there's some change is gonna have to be made in that area. I mean, and I mean, like Dave Kennedy's been giving talks, like he gave one at Circle City Con recently about purple teaming, kind of being between the red and the blue, and I mean, for me, it's like I just want to learn, as much as possible about all of it, to
Sure.
be as, useful to my customers as I can be, as well as, like I said, I want to win Pwn to Own. I want to do the main
Mm.
stage at BlackHat. I'm checking off the boxes, I guess. I've got the book. I'm doing teaching my own class at BlackHat. I taught with a group last year, but this will be my first year teaching at BlackHat by myself. So, you know, that's a big milestone for me as well.
Cool.
So, you know, just we'll kind of see what comes next. I mean, the book definitely took a lot of time and effort, but you know, I continue with my my smartphone pen test framework. I mean, I'm a much better coder now than I was when I first started it. So certainly more work to be done there, expanding it, you know, improving upon it in terms of like usability, doing more research. I also want to write some new classes. I mean, really the best way I find for me to learn is to teach. You know, I learned something and I don't really feel like I really know it until I've taught it a few times. So, you know, as I, you know, kind of move into new areas that are interesting for me, you know, I want to write classes about them. So definitely, you should probably online start to see some classes popping up. You know, we're working on some stuff in like malware analysis and application security and stuff like that. I mean, not anything groundbreaking per se, because these are areas that, well, I mean, I've done some application security stuff for sure, but like malware analysis, I'm actually pretty new to. I haven't done too much in malware analysis, so it's like I'm working on, you know, kind of building courseware with that as I learn, kind of thing. I guess that's just, you know, how I operate. I just kind of want to be everything, I guess, and
Sure. So you're teaching for the first time on your own at BlackHat and doing exploit development. What does chapter 1 of exploit development look like? Let's just say we were in the class right now. What would be like the first thing you would teach somebody about exploit development?
Well, we're going to start out with a little bit of theory. It's very much a hands-on course. So, you know, basically with each module, we're going to do a little bit of theory, but mainly it's going to be, all right, we're going to work through this exploit and run into our problems as we do and then fix them as we do. But we're going to do basically just start with just a basic stack-based buffer overflow. It's going to be just a save return pointer overwrite. Take a look at it. You know, before we even do like one that is an actual program, you know, we just start out with a simple, just one that I wrote, and then just look at it and then debugger, you know, where the buffers are very small and you don't really have to worry about calculating offsets, because you can just kind of look at it and see, well, this is, according to the theory, this is where the return address is. Here, if we actually look at main, sure enough, that's the return address. Kind of give them an idea of, you know, what it is on very simple terms, and then, you know, each module kind of builds from that. The next thing we do is take, okay, here's a real program. We no longer have source code. Now we're just really going to have to do it from what we see in the debugger. Like just exception handlers, overwrites as well, you know, space issues, character set issues. Character set issues are always fun when you make it such that, you know, there's so few characters you can even use. And a little bit of Unicode, dealing with, you know, some of the more modern anti-exploitation techniques like data execution prevention and ASLR. I mean, certainly no one's going to come out of a 2-day course ready to, you know, take on, you know, the latest and greatest. They're not going to jailbreak the iPhone or anything, or if they do, I'm a much better teacher than I give myself credit for. But again, it's, I guess, along the same lines that it's, if you're interested in this and, you know, maybe you've done some reading and, you know, you just haven't really gotten anywhere, you don't really know, you know, where to start or where to go, like, this will give you some hands-on experience. Like, I feel like if somebody comes out of the course, they'll come out of it, at the very least, I hope, with a mindset of how to deal with, okay, it's just not working. What can we come up with to fix it? That I really built the exercises around that, you know, the exploits that frustrate me the most, I guess.
Yeah.
Digging your way out of a hole, if you will, which is what I've found exploit types to really be about a lot of the times, is digging yourself out of a hole. At least, you know, if you're going to build something new, and, you know, maybe one day I'll have a whole new memory corruption technique, and I'll name it after, like, I guess whoever I like the most at the time.
Yeah. So you've got you're doing mobile hacking. Have you just concentrated on iPhone and Android, or do you actually see Windows Mobile being the next great frontier for hackery and evildoers?
I got a Windows phone, and I was actually forced to use it because
Oh,
my
goodness.
Android broke, and I didn't have my iPhone with me, and I actually really liked it.
Yeah. My wife has one. She works for a small software company in Redmond, and they issue them to her. And
A small software company in Redmond,
I
huh?
cannot confirm nor deny that she works for a small company in Redmond that makes software. But yeah, she seems to like it quite a bit too. She'd gone from an Android to a Windows phone too, and I must be the only guy who actually likes the Windows 8 interface. I mean, I got 8.1 on my Surface that's recording the conversation right now, but
Don't worry, you are.
I am the only person. Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Well,
Yeah, I don't like it. Like, I have a Surface RT, and just like I could never use it as a real computer, and it's like my mom got a Surface Pro and just couldn't stand it. I mean, my main problem with it is that, like, everything I ever want to run on it, it says it's incompatible.
oh yeah, as
But
an RT, yeah.
yeah, because I'm a Mac user, so
Yep. Yeah, I got my
yeah.
Mac. I'm talking on my Mac right now. So, but yeah, I mean, I use it mainly to annotate PDFs and to record Skype conversations. But yeah, I don't do a lot with it. It actually is pretty beefy, and you could run like VMware or something on it for lab or whatever. But yeah, I guess everybody's unhappy with the interface so much. I haven't heard. That's about the only sticking point I've heard on the Windows 8 stuff. But there seems to be a lot of exploits for it too, so that's always good.
Right.
You know.
So, but I like it. I really do like it on the phone. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like they tried to put what was good for a phone interface. I mean, if you think about it, if you tried to put like the Android interface on a computer and people suddenly had to write documents and things on it, I mean, I think people would just like it just as much. That I feel like Windows
Yeah.
8 ultimately should be a phone and not
Yeah.
a computer. But I mean,
It doesn't scale well.
right. I was
Yeah.
having this conversation, and it's like, I mean, Vista was kind of the same way. That, I mean, nobody liked Vista, but everybody loved XP and everybody loved 7. And I mean, I think when you're Microsoft, I mean, you've basically invented so much of this. I mean, nobody gets it right every time. So,
It's the
yeah.
Star Trek of OSs. Every other one was good.
Right,
You know?
right.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Windows 9 or whatever they decide to call it will be absolutely amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm sticking with the Mac for now. As expensive as they are, I actually
Yeah.
just bought a new one. I just bought a new MacBook Pro because I blew out the keyboard on my Mac, so I've been
Oh
using
man.
a keyboard I have to plug into it, and it's like, I'm gonna make it last. I'm gonna make it last, but
That's
it's
right.
like, oh, you're going to BlackHat. You don't want to. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to show up with a functional computer. You can't just have one with duct tape on it and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a certain standard there that I feel like I should meet.
Wait.
Like, functioning computer would probably be good.
You could be like starving. You'd be the starving artist or whatever. The starving
Right.
pen
Right.
tester. Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably doesn't look so good on the company. It makes the company look like it's not doing as well as it is, and not that I'm just cheap.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. So yeah.
So you started out doing what would CCDC be considered a capture the flag kind of competition, or is it a war? They call them, what do they call those? Not guild wars. I'm thinking like a war games. That's it. Is it like war games, or is it more like a CTF?
Well, I would more describe it as a bloodbath. The students are purely on the defensive side, and the red team, which are the professional hackers,
Sure.
people like me now. Yeah. One of the highlights again. Maybe I'd choose weird highlights, but just getting to be the red team and now be the person that the students my old self, hopefully, look up to and are inspired by, is just huge for me. So, but it's, the red team does all the attacking. I mean, it depends based on the region. I've done a few different regions. I came from the Mid-Atlantic region. That's, will always be my home. But, it's very it's very stacked against the blue teams, against the student teams. The goal was always, at least back in those days when I was on blue team, it was like if the red team could get anyone on the blue team to cry, they would get a bottle of scotch. I will neither confirm or deny whether they actually did make me cry one year by deleting my VMs right off my machine, which was out of scope. Thank you very much. It was an illegal move on their part. But it's, you come in, basically the scenario is you come in, the network's a mess, you are actively under attack. So basically the premise is that the IT staff all just walked out and left one day, and you're the new IT staff, and you're actively under attack. And also the CEO, wants you to do, to add new things, like you have, what are they called? Business injects, like they're like set up a Drupal site or something, or, add this. And they even, at least in the Mid-Atlantic region, you actually have a CEO that you have to go meet with, and he's horribly mean to you, because as you would be, your whole network's down, we're losing all this revenue, why can't you fix it? Typical, computers are hard thing. And it's very much, I feel like if you can survive CCDC, that you can probably survive anything. But it's like 1 year, and it's interesting, like I learned stuff like going back and doing red team. It's like this past year I had to miss it because I had a conflict, but it's definitely on my calendar for next year, and I did it the year before. And I learned things in it. I see new technologies, like 1 year they had, the blue teams had power strips that were on the network. They didn't know it. We as the red team didn't know it. There wasn't really any network diagram, but, just going over there and looking, it's like, I saw it. I saw the model number, after the first day, I go home, we're all sitting in the lounge, I'm Googling the model number, I pull up the, PDF of the user manual. It says, the default password is like 1234. I don't know if that's what it was, but it was some default password on it. And it's like, so the next day I go in, and sure enough, no one had noticed that their power strips were online, which was the same sort of thing that when I was on blue team, I'd fail to notice that there was like another router underneath our table kind of thing. It's like, it's a very, high stress environment for the students, but it's, I just turned off the power on everybody's networks, and it was just like, but, I remember what it was like as a student and how stressful, because, you want to go to nationals, you put so much into it, and then there's this red team that just totally wants to destroy everything. But yeah, I had never run into a power strip on the network before that, so that was, something new I learned just by going to CCDC. And it's, rare on pen tests that you really get to go all out and like just delete people's operating systems and stuff. So, it's just a fun experience in general. That, as a red team member, I inspire people to get into information security, because that's, the whole point of these competitions really is for recruitment, to get people interested, to find the talent, because according to all these studies that I read, we are in desperate need of more people in information security or something.
I hear that too, but I really don't want more people in information security, because that reduces the chances of me getting a good job at some point. So there's a little bit of that left and right. The reason I asked about CCDC and capture the flags was I'm trying to start down the road towards being a pen tester, which is why I bought your book. But I see that there are CTFs for beginners out there that you can just go to and participate in. But there's also things like vulnerable VMs, or you have like Samurai WTF, which actually has vulnerable apps on the distro. I was just wondering, are those things that you would recommend for people, or is there a specific thing that you would recommend for someone if they're trying to become more knowledgeable about pen testing?
Well, I guess the thing is that at this point, that even just pen testing has gotten so big. It's like, network pen testing versus like mobile application pen testing versus web application pen testing. That for me, I've always really enjoyed network pen testing. I mean, web application pen testing is such a big field at this point. Yeah. There's just so it's like every single day they come up with some new way to mess things up. And with the mobile, it's like with each new version that comes out, it's like, oh look, another API that can be abused. How nice. So I guess I would really say that it really just depends on, and why I tried to I guess going back to the book cover, kind of the basics of so much is to just maybe something in particular would strike you as I would really like to continue down this path, just because it is such a big field. But I would definitely, I mean, like for instance, if you wanted to do web application stuff, like WebGoat, the Samurai ones, Damn Vulnerable Linux.
Damn Vulnerable, yeah.
Not Damn Vulnerable Linux, Damn Vulnerable Web Application. I mean, there are vulnerable, anything you can find that, that legally you can attack. I would definitely recommend, I realize, it takes time and we only have so much free time. I've decided I'm going to give up sleeping entirely. Obviously, that's not going to work. I love to sleep.
Yes.
And I need my sleep. But it's like I'd like to be able to give up sleeping entirely just so I could have, more time to study these things. But I would definitely recommend, and I tried to put, some references for where to go next for each chapter at the back of my book, but it's certainly not everything that's out there. So certainly anything you can find that, again, is legal. I mean, a lot of places at this point have bug bounty programs, so you can kind of go at their websites if you want to, which is, I think, definitely a step in the right direction. But then, we saw just, what was it, yesterday or the day before, somebody got fired for responsibly disclosing a vulnerability, and it's like, great, that's awesome.
Yeah, FireEye got into a little thing with a contractor. One of the guys who's a contractor at their company was doing some extracurriculars on, I think, some of their kit, and found a vulnerability. Yeah.
This is why I don't have a job.
Well, you do. You just own your own company, so you're one of those, plucky, self-starting entrepreneurs that America needs so much of.
Right, but the reason that I started Bulb Security in the first place was because I got my DARPA Cyber Fast Track grant to build the Smartphone Pentesting Framework, and it was, I never envisioned that it would happen this way. I didn't see, I guess I saw perhaps at some point I would start my own company, but certainly not at 23, or maybe 24, I don't know. It's hard to even remember how old I am these days. But it was basically, I got from my employer that I could either give them the Cyber Fast Track grant or turn it down or not work there anymore. So it was not work there anymore.
Yeah, makes sense.
And, I used the time to build. Honestly, when I turned in my first, or when I had to turn in my first invoice, I was like, I don't even know what that is. I've learned so much about running a business. I've learned, I've learned a little bit about marketing. I've learned a little bit about sales. I've learned about consulting. I've certainly made some gigantic mistakes. It's like, I think back, like one of the first on-site tests I did, and it's like I love to put my feet up when I'm at home, but it's like it just seemed so absurd to me that it seemed like a good idea to put my feet up, on the desk while I was on a client site. And I actually did until, the principal on the pen test quickly put a stop to that. But it's like, your back's just going to have to hurt, Georgia.
Yeah. But you're like, okay. Note to self, don't put feet on desk. Okay, got it.
I got that. So yeah, I mean, it's I actually saw a talk recently. It was like all about like mistakes made by pen testers, and it's like me and all the other pen testers in the room were just like looking at each other like, yeah, I've done that one, I've done that one.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been a learning process. I mean, it doesn't really come with a manual like this is how you get from point A to point B in information security. I guess it is such a new field, but it's worked out so far. I mean, I guess there would be. I've been lucky that I've had people I can subcontract for to get some of the bigger clients that little bulb security may not be able to get by itself.
Yeah.
To get that experience that I've, been able to go a lot of different places, do a lot of different things, just get experience doing a lot of different things that I may not be able to do if I just had, one job title.
You're creating equity. You're creating a name for yourself that you can use later on.
Yeah. Hopefully. So I guess we'll see where it goes.
Yep.
I'm optimistic that it's all gonna, turn out good.
So, Mr. Betcher, do you have questions?
No, I mean, how many minutes has this been?
I don't care. We've got 2 hours. This is fun. So, you got questions? We got answers.
All right. How big a role does social engineering play in your pen testing? I mean, do companies not most of the time not want to go there?
It depends. I get a lot of people who don't want to go there. I get people who specifically want to go there. I always encourage it. It's definitely, your easy way in, if you will. I mean, I actually used to play a game with myself where it's like, how bad of a job can I do and still get in kind of thing. With the client's consent, of course, but it's like, I'd break a picture on the clone of their website or something, or, I'd make a Gmail address or something. It's like, just try and make like the most ridiculous schemes ever and see how many people would click on it. But I think, and also like on-site things, this is, I think, the saddest thing about the fact that like DVD drives are going away is that one of my favorites was to go into the bathroom and like put CDs on the floor that said like payroll or something, and you'd have like the Excel document with a embedded macro, and it's that one always got somebody. Also fun was just the pleading, we have to we have to turn this in. We can't get this document to open, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And going to the head of IT and being like, can we open this on your computer? And having them say yes. So I mean, that's where the person who probably has the best stories though is like Jason Street. He's got some really great ones. I mean, Jason Street can social engineer his way into anything. I'm more of the technical social engineer type. I once accidentally socially engineered my way past Dulles Airport security, but it was on accident. I didn't even know I'd done it. Yes, it was, I had my boarding pass already. I had printed it out at home, and I thought I had said, on the, kiosk, because I needed to check a bag. I thought I'd said I already had my boarding pass, but then there was a boarding pass there, so I figured, a little airport boarding pass is easier than the one that's got like the weather and the attractions, and I was going home. I knew all these things anyways, so I just grabbed the boarding pass and didn't really look at it, and got up to security. I had my ID, I had my boarding pass that I had grabbed. This is years ago, and but this was Dulles, which I think made it particularly frightening that it was Dulles. It was one of the 9/11 airports. But it was, he looked at me, he looked at the ticket, he looked at my ID, he looked at me, he looked at the ticket, he looked at my ID. I had no idea what was going on. I didn't think anything of it. But then, he wrote down, whatever they write that seems to change from day to day, whatever it is they write, and, let me go on my way. And then it wasn't, until I'd walked to my gate that I realized, that this boarding pass was, someone had obviously left it there in the printer at the
Oh, wow.
at the thing. So I completely had a boarding pass that wasn't even mine and didn't have my name on it or a name even completely close to mine, and had just gone through security with it. But I feel like I'm such a nervous individual that if I knew I was actually doing something like that, I would definitely give myself away. People say I always look nervous at border control. Like when I went to the Maldives not too long ago, the border control agents are like, "You look nervous," and it's like, sorry, yeah, I don't really have anything illegal, but you can go through my stuff for like the 12th time. But yeah. Border control is always fun.
Yeah.
So you'll never be the one to just walk in a store and steal a cash register like David Kennedy did.
No, I don't think I'd have the stomach for that. Maybe somewhere down the line. I don't know. I'm still young. I've got many years ahead of me, hopefully, in the industry. So, maybe at some point, I will develop that skill. But at this point, I don't think I'd have the stomach for it. I have considered, though, that it would be interesting to, I don't think I would actually do it, but I've considered that the possibility that, a lot of the tablets and the phones and whatnot, a lot of them at like Best Buy and whatnot are actually like functional. I've tested that you actually can send messages and stuff from them. So it's like, well, why don't I just use these as part of a botnet? Just drop something on them. I mean, I couldn't say, I've never actually done anything like that, but it's like, that would be something that a bad guy would do, kind of thing. So it does occur to me that, maybe they shouldn't just have all these sitting here where you can install whatever the hell you want on them. But maybe you just with the computing power in a Best Buy store, you could probably you could use it for your password cracking. There
you go.
Come back the next day, one of them will be done. Yeah.
Do a reverse shell back to your office, and then use that to pivot through to a network or something like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've never. Jason Street just, plays the adorable character that he is and generally gets away with everything. But
well, he just gives awkward hugs. All he needs is a pelvic thrust and he's in. So,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, Jason's social engineering stories are very interesting. So if you haven't interviewed him, you should probably do that because he's always got some really good stories.
He's on our list. Definitely on our list.
Definitely a good one, and he's another person who's very interested in helping people get into InfoSec. So
yeah,
he's always been helpful to me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Anything you wanted to talk about in particular?
Me?
Besides, yeah.
Well, I mean, do you have anything coming up that we don't know about yet, but you might want to talk about?
Well, I just bought plane tickets to Uganda.
Oh my God!
Actually, just like a couple days ago, I just sent my visa stuff in like yesterday, but it's already there. I'm actually gonna go hang out with Johnny Long for Hackers for Charity for a couple weeks after BlackHat DEF CON. I'm going to, enjoy Africa. I hope it'll give me some perspective. I think, we in general, not just security people, but, people in a first world country in general take a lot for granted. I'm hoping to get some perspective out of it, going to some place where people have, so little, help out with the project. I may or may not be giving a class. I haven't really decided. I may, give an intro pen testing class there while I'm there, do what I can to help. See, I've never been to Africa before. I haven't been to Africa or Australia, so it'll be a place to check off on my list. I'm pretty excited. I've always really loved the Hackers for Charity project, like ever since CCDC, really. It's Johnny Long came and spoke at CCDC when I was still a student, and it was like, we thought we were the coolest people in the world, me and my like two best friends. for wearing our I Hack Charities t-shirts around school. We were always Johnny Long fans, incredible Johnny Long fans. Like the first ShmooCon I went to, it's like, so we got our picture taken with Johnny Long. It's like we were such fanboys and girls. So
That's
yes,
cool.
I'm going to go out to Uganda. So that should be really exciting.
So that's in mid-August?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
basically after DEF CON and BlackHat, I'm gonna be home for like part of a week to, basically wash clothes and things, and then I'm
sure.
gonna go out there and, probably, I think it's for about 2 weeks. Yeah, I should
Wow.
know these things. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I haven't really told anybody either. It's kind of, I wasn't really gonna tell anybody until I bought the plane tickets. But now that I bought the plane tickets, there's really no going back. So
So this is
I'm
exclusive. We're the first people outside your family you've told them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Yay!
like I think maybe Jason knows and a couple other people, but yeah, that's definitely the first announcement thereof. So, if anybody listens all the way this far, they will hear that yes, I am gonna go to Uganda. That's really exciting.
Well,
Definitely up there on the like achievements list.
we're big in Kenya and South America and Ulaanbaatar up in Mongolia. So yeah, all 5 people that listen to the podcast. I think my mom's one of them, so it's cool. So yeah, but so that's awesome. I mean, yeah, I've been a fan of Johnny Long's for years, and been sending him money, and I don't even care. It's a 501 or whatever. He's just, it takes a lot to just give up what you're doing here and go over and help other people. So it's very commendable of him and you to go over in mid-August to Uganda.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, like I said, it is really cool that he does this, and I'm really excited that I get to be a part of it, as more than just, giving donations. I actually get to go and see the project, get to see Uganda, get to meet, the people over there. And like I said, hopefully it'll give me some perspective, when my
Oh yeah.
exploit isn't working, I can be a little bit less annoyed about it. It's like, we as a whole have got a lot going for us. I mean, as security people, particularly, it's like I remember, when I was in grad school, it was like I was at a club meeting, and it was like we were talking about, we were introducing ourselves, and I said what my major was, and it was like the advisor was like, yeah, you're gonna have a really hard time finding a job,
Yeah.
whereas, a lot of the country, a lot of, the people I went to school with have, who didn't major in, the sciences are having a hard time finding a job. So, I mean, we are very blessed in our industry that, I think it'll be really nice to go help people who really are not nearly as blessed as we are.
Yep. You mean people who are majoring in 18th century Russian poetry just don't have the doors beating down to get them?
Unfortunately not.
Man.
And I wanted to be an English major. I really did. But it was like, my parents were like, you want to be able to get a job at the end of all of this, which in hindsight, they're absolutely correct. It's like, you can read whatever you want on the side, and I still do. I'm a very avid reader of many different subjects that aren't always information security. I mean, I read novels and philosophy and things like that, and it's like, you can still have these passions, but yeah, I think it was definitely a good thing that I went for the computer science.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, well, I mean, if Mr. Betcher doesn't have anything else, that's. I think we're pretty much done. Unless there, you're going to be speaking at BlackHat, doing your exploit development. Is that like put it in SANS terms? Are you like a 600 course or a 500 course or 700 course even?
Honestly, I've never taken a SANS course in my life. I would love to, but they're so expensive.
Yeah, I know. My company paid for mine, so I can't.
Yeah, if I had somebody, it would be like my company would have to pay for it, and that basically means me.
Okay.
Just write it off. Isn't it a tax write-off?
Yeah, it'd be a tax write-off for an
Right?
employee.
Tax write-off, but
Yeah.
My accountant Swifty told me, just write it off.
Swifty.
Take care of it.
Good old Swifty.
Yeah.
well, it's it's a possibility. Maybe I'll take a sales course at some point. Because I mean, I've always heard really good things about them. And I've always heard that if you want to teach for them, you have to take a course for them and make a certain level of, or make a certain score on the test. And it's like any opportunities for teaching that's, I always like those. So.
Well, you could get in with Kevin Johnson. Him and Justin are doing training on the side as well. So
Yeah,
that might always be an option to.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, Miss Georgia, we were thrilled to have you on, and you were a fantastic guest. And if you ever want to come back, podcast is yours to do with whatever you want.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I kind of, I work at home unless I'm on the job site. So, I have a tendency to make the most of these things and just have my social hour here.
Yeah, no, I do too. I have 3 cats, and that's about all I get to talk to. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand. We have 4. They totally run the house.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
oh, yeah.
but I hope people will buy the book, and hope they will enjoy it, and I hope it will, help people get started. Really, I mean, I feel like a lot of need for these sorts of resources of where people can get started. So hopefully the book helps. I saw it on the shelf the other day at Barnes & Noble, which was a really weird experience. Like, wow.
Hit the big time. Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, you can find it at what, No Starch Press, and on Amazon, I think.
Yeah, it's at nostarch.com/pentesting. If you use the discount code Georgia, you can get 30% off.
What'd you do that for? You just lost extra commission. Come on now.
You don't write books. Well, you don't write security books for the money. That's for sure.
That's true.
But and yeah, you can get it on Amazon. It is on Kindle. It's at Barnes & Noble. I don't think it's on Nook. I'm not sure why. But No Starch will give you a PDF and whatnot if you just buy it straight through them, and that'll open in whatever reader you want, as far as I can tell. So, yeah, I mean, hope people buy it. It seems to be selling pretty well so far. So, cool. But I think a lot of the thing is getting it to the right audience. That a lot of the people I see who are buying it because they're my friends, whereas a lot of them know more about pen testing than I do. It's not necessarily a book that's going to be that helpful for them. Whereas to say the world at large, it would be much more helpful. I think hopefully it'll end up in the right hands with people who are interested in getting started in pen testing. So
cool. All right. Well, we'll definitely have a link up on our show notes for that, and to your Twitter is at Georgia Weidman, right?
Yeah, that's me.
Cool.
I don't tweet too terribly much anymore. It's just Twitter has just become a cesspool of drama. I watch for new vulnerabilities and new blog posts that are interesting to me and whatnot, but it's it's not even worth kind of getting into a lot of the drama that goes on Twitter anymore. I never thought I'd go back to Facebook, but it's Facebook is where I actually talk these days. Because I had a Facebook back when it was only for EDU addresses. In fact, I've had it for so long.
Wow.
It's so I was kind of traded in Facebook for Twitter, but then I don't know. People should be nicer to each other in general, and information security, we should be nicer to each other. So cool. You just see a lot of nastiness on Twitter that I just could do without. So
well, you got to prune your tree every once in a while. I was following way too many people, and I started kicking people off. So yeah.
Yeah, but if you do write me on Twitter with a question or whatnot, I will definitely answer you in as timely a fashion as I can. Also, you can email me at georgia@bulbsecurity.com if you have any questions about the book or life in general. I mean, I do my best to try and answer everybody in as timely a fashion as I can, but sometimes I do get bogged down. So if you don't hear back from me, then email me again or Twitter me again or whatnot, because I'm not ignoring you. I just missed it because I do that.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that's it. And you have yourself a great week there, Miss Georgia, and we'll talk to you real soon.
All
Thanks,
right.
George.
Well, thank you guys.
Okay. And that was it for Breaking Down Security. So everyone have a good week, and thanks for listening. And stop. I picked the worst damn day to do the ceiling fan install in my house.
Oh, I thought you were doing dishes.
I didn't realize it would take like drilling and stuff. Yeah, I had to put some in the house because the humidity up here kills. So we have to have some air moving around, and that's what it was. So it's going to be some interesting audio artifacts in the stream. So.